She gave them everything. They gave her nothing. Now, years later, 3 successful children find their homeless mother in a hospital hallway. The woman who sacrificed her life for their dreams sits broken and forgotten. Can love forgive the unforgivable? Can a family find its way back home? Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Maria's hands were rough from years of washing dishes at the diner. Her back ached as she walked home to their small apartment, but her heart was full. Tonight, her 3 children would graduate from high school together. Twins Sarah and David and her youngest, Michael. She had worked 2 jobs for years to make this moment possible. "Mom, we need money for college applications," Sarah had said that morning. "All our friends are going to expensive universities." Maria smiled, hiding her worry. "Don't worry, my love. I'll find a way." But finding a way meant selling her grandmother's ring, working extra shifts, and eating less so her children could eat more. Maria never complained. Love meant sacrifice, and she would give everything for her children's future. Years passed. The children went to college, then graduate school. They got good jobs in big cities, married successful people, and lived in beautiful houses. But somewhere along the way they forgot the woman who made it all possible. Phone calls became rare. Visits stopped altogether. When Maria called them, they were always too busy. "Mom, I'm in a meeting." "Mom, I can't talk right now." "Mom, maybe next month." Maria's heart broke a little more each day. She lost her job at the diner when it closed down. Then she lost her apartment because she couldn't pay rent. The neighbors helped for a while, but everyone had their own problems. One cold winter night, Maria found herself sleeping on a bench in the park. She had become invisible, just another homeless person that others walked past without seeing. But she never stopped loving her children. She never stopped hoping they would remember her. "Maybe they're just busy," she would tell herself as she warmed her hands over a small fire with other homeless people. "Maybe they'll call tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. 5 years later, David was rushing through City General Hospital. His daughter Emma had broken her arm at school, and he was stressed about missing an important business meeting. As a successful lawyer, his time was money. He turned a corner quickly and bumped into someone sitting on a bench in the hallway. The person was wearing old, dirty clothes and looked tired. "Watch where you're going," David said without looking back. But something made him turn around. The woman on the bench looked familiar. Her hair was gray now and her face was thin, but those eyes. "Mom?" The word came out like a whisper. Maria looked up at her son. The boy she had raised, the man she was so proud of. He looked successful in his expensive suit, but his face showed shock and horror. "David?" Her voice was weak. She had been coming to the hospital for free medical care when she could. Today she was feeling dizzy and tired. David's world stopped. This couldn't be his mother. His mother lived in their old neighborhood, didn't she? When was the last time he had called her? When was the last time he had visited? The truth hit him like a punch to the stomach. He hadn't spoken to his mother in over 2 years. "Mom, what are you doing here? Where do you live?" But he already knew the answer from her appearance, from the small bag of belongings beside her, from the way other people avoided looking at her. Before Maria could answer, 2 more familiar voices called out. "David? What are you doing here?" Sarah appeared, followed by Michael. Sarah's own son had been brought to the emergency room after a soccer injury. Michael was there because his wife was having tests done. Both of them stopped when they saw the woman on the bench. Both of them recognized those eyes that had looked at them with such love for so many years. "Mom?" Sarah's voice broke. Maria tried to smile, but tears were already falling. "My children. You've all grown so handsome. So successful." The 3 siblings stood there, unable to move. They saw their mother, but she looked so different. So small, so tired, so forgotten. That night, the 3 siblings sat in David's living room. None of them could focus on their own problems anymore. They had taken Maria to David's house, given her a warm bath, clean clothes, and food. But the damage of years couldn't be healed in one evening. "When did we become like this?" Sarah asked, tears in her eyes. "When did we become people who could forget our own mother?" Michael, the youngest, was crying. "I kept meaning to call her. I kept thinking I would visit next month, next year. But I was always too busy with work, with my own family." David paced the room. "I thought she was fine. I thought she was living in the old apartment. I don't know what I thought. I just stopped thinking about her." They realized that in chasing their own success, they had abandoned the person who made that success possible. Maria had given them everything, and they had given her nothing in return. "Do you remember how she used to work at the diner until midnight, then come home and help us with homework?" Sarah said. She sold her grandmother's ring to pay for my college applications, Michael remembered. She gave me her last $20 when I needed gas money in college, David added. I never paid her back. They had become successful, but they had failed as children. They had forgotten the most important lesson their mother had taught them, that love means taking care of each other. The next morning, Maria woke up in a comfortable bed for the first time in years. She could smell coffee and breakfast cooking. For a moment she thought she was dreaming. David knocked softly on the door. Mom? Are you awake? We made breakfast. Maria came downstairs to find all three of her children in the kitchen. They had taken time off work. They had rearranged their schedules. For the first time in years she was their priority. Mom, Sarah began, her voice shaking, we need to talk. We need to apologize. We abandoned you, Michael said. We were so focused on our own lives that we forgot about the person who gave us those lives. David knelt beside his mother's chair. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for becoming someone who would walk past you on the street. I'm sorry for forgetting how much you sacrificed for us. Maria listened to her children apologize, and her heart was breaking and healing at the same time. My children, I never stopped loving you. Not even when I was cold and hungry. Not even when I felt forgotten. A mother's love doesn't end. But how can you forgive us? Sarah asked. How can you forgive what we became? Maria took each of their hands. Because forgiveness is what love does. And because I see that you remember now who you really are. You're not the people who forgot me. You're the children I raised with love. The healing didn't happen overnight. There were many conversations, many tears, many apologies. The siblings had to face the truth about themselves and work to become better people. David sold his second car and used the money to get Maria proper medical care and a nice apartment. Sarah invited Maria to live with her family, wanting her mother to know her grandchildren. Michael took Maria to visit old friends she had lost touch with. But the most important thing they gave her was their time. They called every day. They visited every week. They included her in their lives again. Maria's health improved with proper food and medical care. Her spirit improved even more with love and attention from her children. She began to smile again, to laugh again. You know, she told them one Sunday when they were all having dinner together, those years on the street taught me something important. They taught me that love is the only thing that really matters. Everything else, money, success, comfort, means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. The grandchildren, who had never known their grandmother before, fell in love with her stories and her gentle ways. They couldn't imagine why their parents had ever stayed away from such a wonderful person. Sarah realized that all her success meant nothing if she couldn't take care of the person who had made it possible. She started volunteering at homeless shelters, remembering that every person on the street was someone's mother, father, or child. Michael learned to balance his work with his family. He made sure to call his mother every day, just to hear her voice and let her know she was important to him. David used his law skills to help homeless people get the services they needed. He never again walked past someone without seeing them as a human being worthy of respect. All three siblings became better parents because they remembered how much their own mother had sacrificed for them. They taught their children about gratitude, about family, about never forgetting the people who love you. 2 years later, the family gathered to celebrate Maria's 70th birthday. The room was full of children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. There was laughter and joy and love everywhere. Maria looked around at her family and felt grateful for the pain that had brought them back together. Sometimes, she thought, people need to lose something before they understand how precious it is. I want to say something, Maria announced, standing up with some difficulty. I want you all to know that the years when we were apart were hard. But they led us to this moment. They taught us not to take love for granted. She looked at each of her children. You're all good people. You made mistakes, but you learned from them. You found your way back to love, and that's what matters. David stood up. Mom, we want to promise you something. We promise never to forget again. We promise to always remember that family comes first. We promise to take care of each other. The whole family joined hands around the table. 3 generations connected by love, by forgiveness, by second chances. Maria closed her eyes and felt completely happy. Her children had found their way back to her, and more importantly, they had found their way back to themselves. They had remembered who they really were. People raised with love, people capable of great kindness. Love had won just like she always knew it would. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as painful lessons. Sometimes we have to lose everything to remember what truly matters. And sometimes, love is patient enough to wait for us to find our way home. Maria's story reminds us that success means nothing without love, that family is more precious than money, and that it's never too late to make things right with the people who matter most. The mother who never stopped loving had taught her children the most important lesson of all, that love always finds a way back home.